Hey, what's going on, guys? It's everyone's favorite anime and manga podcast, lOsTAKUS. My name is Eric.
And I'm JT.
So as you saw, One Piece was a really, really long video, so we decided to keep that separate from this week's SWR. So without any further ado, let's get into the sad last chapter of Dr.Stone. I am so shocked that it's actually finished. It didn't seem like it was out of nowhere. It was out of nowhere.
It wasn't really out of nowhere.
Not out of nowhere, but
we knew it was finishing.
Yeah, we knew it was finishing.
It was in its final arc. The thing is that they usually announce
exactly that's
when a manga is gonna finish. But for this one, they're like, last chapter. Hey, by the way, this is the last chapter, guys.
Which that's what I meant by like it was a surprise because they usually, I follow like the Shonen Jump Shuisa on Twitter and everything, and they usually post when Dr.Stone is gonna end.
That's
but
the norm.
Yeah, for some reason they're just like, nope, all right, it's gonna end, and it's today's chapter. What do you mean? Like, but yeah, it was reaching its climax, and we knew it was eventually gonna be over. But yeah, let's go over the ending and how everything played out.
So it starts off with Senku, Kohaku, and Stanley and Ryusui coming back to Earth, entering Earth, landing on water, being rescued, being cheered by everybody, and then high-fiving all the main side characters of the journey so far.
Yeah.
And then getting medals of honor, and then it says several years later, I believe.
Yeah, we get a time skip. Yeah. Another time skip. So the time skip to where now you get your, I guess it happens in shonen, right, where people get married, and we get the marriage of
well, first it starts off with Gen, like Gen meeting with different people in different places, different types of people, and then he gets picked up by Francois in the airport, and then he's like, I never figured I would ever be a diplomat. It's not really my thing.
Oh yeah.
But then he's all like, but it's been a while since I've been back, and I had to be back because of the marriage, for this marriage. And we see Taiju and Yuzuriha getting married.
And it's interesting, well, not as interesting, but it's cool that Gen is the diplomat. He's like, I'm not cut out for this. Yes, you are, man.
He really is. He cuts himself short there, but yeah, he is.
Like, yeah, you're meant for this.
That's basically all he did this entire series.
That's it.
He was a smooth talker.
And that's what diplomats are.
Got him shot once.
And it's funny because Gen's like, wait, oh yeah, this is your second day of getting married? Like, yeah, we wanted our friends to attend. So
yeah, this is quite the big celebration. Oh, it's our second day. He's like, wait, what? He's like, why? He's like, well, originally Yuzuriha says that it was because we wanted more people to come in. Yeah. That way, the people that couldn't make it on the first day make it on the second day. So. But then, who was it, Taiju or someone mentions the real part was on the first day of their marriage, Senku, because they're busy, he's all like, hey, get your asses back to work.
Yeah.
He's all like, Senku pulled him back into the science lab where they're working on a big project.
So as JT said, they are working on a big project, but before we get there, they decide to take some of the cake and they want to deliver it to Senku because Senku's working.
Before that, there's a little funny clip where Kohaku goes to Ruri, his sister, and he's like, oh, by the way, let's take this chance for me to ask this. When are you and Chrome gonna get married? And they show on the day before, on the first day of the wedding, Chrome and Rudy are just watching the wedding, and Chrome just nonchalantly turns to her and says, hey, when we finish our bad science project, how about we get married? She's like shocked and stuff. She's like, okay. He's like, great.
And that's very unshonen, like shonen characters are just like,
yeah, but I guess he saw it, and plus Chrome is like a real he's an idiot. So that was just so casually.
So it's like, all right, cool.
Yeah, and then they go share cake with the science people or Senku's group,
and they keep walking, and then
they see Senku's back.
And then Taiju runs up to him, is like, Senku, and then they turn around the Senku, and it's gender bended.
It's a female. It's a very pretty Senku. And he's like, what?
Like, wait, what's going on, man?
And I love, there's no explanation. Who is this person? Why does she look like Senku? It's a female.
and it looks like Senku, but they just explained that it's a scientist from somewhere in the world that gathered there.
But why does she look like Senku? Exact. She's just, the mangaka wanted to create just this gender bent Senku, just out of fun. I'm pretty sure that's why this character is there.
I respect it. I'm here for it, man.
There's no like descendant. Is she a fan? Why does she look like him? Why?
No explanation needed. It is what it is, and we accept it.
And it's just Senku's group, and they started talking about like what they're working on. They were dismantling like the Medusas that they had already used. They thought it was like, whoa, was that the Medusa, the smart Medusa? They're like, no, that's in there with Senku. Like this was one that was already used. And then they start explaining like all the mechanisms that it has in it. And they're like, yeah, no.
Yeah, they're like, all right,
we're moving on.
Yeah, we're moving on. Let's go get this cake to Senku. And they're walking in. They're like, and then he comes in again. Senku, I just got married to Yuzahira. He's like, yeah, you said that yesterday.
Well, that's what Yuzahira says, and Senku's all like, oh yeah, that's cool, that's very, very interesting. I was screaming so loud for y'all that my vocal cords are snapped. Wait a minute, why does it sound familiar?
Like we just talked about this yesterday.
They checked out his science project, the science project they've been working on, and it's just a giant Medusa. The first thing we see is a giant Medusa. It's like, it looks like a Medusa, it's just super huge. Then they explain what that huge Medusa is for. The little robot says that maybe we can go back and change things that happened, so that way before any incursion occurred in your world, or before my fellow
species
before my fellow species also got killed
or died, so they're
being used.
It's a time machine.
So then Senku says like, yep, it's a time machine.
I didn't know how to feel about this at first. And I was just like, but they continue on, and Senku kind of explains what it could be used for, essentially.
Yeah, like someone brings up, well, we can go back and unpetrify everybody the moment of petrification. Maybe we can go back and warn them about the petrification. They talk about a few possibilities that can happen. So I like that.
Yeah.
They brought up a few possibilities.
Yeah.
They didn't say exactly what we're going to do. They said we could.
There's many things we could do. And Dr. Zeno, one of them is like transmit information back to them, or send an AI from when we finish making an AI, send it back, and basically
it'll help him.
Yeah.
Or Senku imagines being back in front of his father. He's like, Father, come with me if you want to leave.
And this is how the Terminator started. It all started from Dr. Stone.
Like,
wouldn't you know it?
Senku? No, my name is John Connor.
So they're just explaining all the things that they could do with them, and just kind of it's left open-ended, and we get a shot of Senku at the end.
Yeah, he talks about the possibilities and how science can surpass time.
Yeah.
And it'll eventually evolve into something grand. So get excited. That's how it ends.
Yeah, they kind of explain that the time machine's not done. It won't be done in the near future.
Decades, millennia. Who knows?
It depends. And that's, I guess, the beauty in this ending, completely open-ended to the reader. Does introduce time travel, which JT did not like, but time travel did not happen, so it doesn't technically count. But I'm really glad. I'm really glad that it ended here. Like, before we get any further, let's just end it right here, because I really hate any anime that has anything to do with time traveling, whether it be a spiritual time travel, actual machine time travel, whatever, any type of time traveling that involves getting your story's narrative. But it happened through time. There's a lot of loops that happens, unless it's Steins Gate, right? That's the basis of the story. So unless your story already has time traveling, has the beginning of your plot, okay, it's still going to be confusing. It's hard to work through it, but okay. But if you, at the end of your story, you say, all of this happened because one way or another, I got back through time and caused everything to happen, get out of here with your soft storytelling, your weak storytelling. But then this was the last chapter. And again, we didn't know it was going to be the last chapter until they said, like, final chapter. I was like, what? Yeah. So the fact that it ended, they made a time machine, but we don't know what happens after that. And I'm great. I'm good with that. Same. I'm good with it too. The ending and the kind of the finding out who the main villain was very underwhelming for me. But the story overall, it was good. So it was entertaining. Yeah, it was entertaining. So since the story is actually done, we can actually do this. Out of 10, what would you give the overall story?
Are we gonna start doing this? Let's see. I will give it a 7. And one of the biggest things for me is I just love a good romance in a story. When someone can pull off a good romance in a story throughout the story, not in a movie, not as the end. But yeah, so for me, romance is a big thing because it's my second favorite genre. Dr. Stone didn't have any of that. So it's pretty lackluster. Like some of the side characters that we saw Yuzahira and Taiju get married, they were established early on that they were in love with each other. So that was cool. But in terms of storytelling, it was pretty good. It was a good pacing. All the way. All the way until Y-Man. Y-Man was the only detraction from enjoying this story, but I would give it a 7 out of 10.
Okay.
Not enough action. I was just fine with that.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, for me, I'll just do this 7.5. So 7.5, just a little bit higher than JT's here, mainly because the ending was that you're essentially building up to the main villain and trying to find out who it is, and as I said, it was lackluster for me, so that kind of killed it. Had it been a little bit a better kind of villain or something like that, then I would think about giving it higher. But same to what JT said, overall the story was very entertaining. It's very, very hard to make a shonen that good in this time period right now with very little fighting scenes in it. And it was all based on science. And essentially, I've said this a lot with the writing of Dr. Stone. He goes into the curiosity of your younger self and basically uses that to keep you interested in the story of, hey, how does this work? How does he make this? This works like this, and just uses science to keep you reading and along with the plot twists and turns of the story. So 7.5 for me. It was
like there's plenty of shounen stories that works without any fighting, especially like slice of life stories. Like honestly, stretched out as Nisekoi was, I enjoyed Nisekoi more than Dr. Stone. When I think back on it, I really did. It was stretched out a lot, but still, I probably enjoyed Nisekoi. No, not probably. I did enjoy Nisekoi more than Dr. Stone. But it's the same thing like Shokugeki no Soma, right? That's a shounen, and just with food. It was pretty entertaining. Food Wars. Have you read? Have you read? My bad. Have you read?
Do we read?
Do we read? Did you?
No, but
honestly, we never talked about that. But so something like Food Wars. Was really entertaining until the last arc. That last arc really killed it for me. Without that arc, honestly, just because it was really entertaining. It was so different. It's like, how can you give me the same feeling of a battle with cooking? That's great in a manga,
but you can't.
That's great. It was an 8. Last arc happened. It was a 6.
No, I would bring it down. I would also bring it down because that last arc, it shouldn't have happened. It really shouldn't have.
If you wanted to close it out, honestly, that before that final arc,
the final school tournament, that would have been it. That would have been it.
It would have felt like you've longed for more because it was just their second or first year. I think it was their first year. Right. I think it was their first year, but that's fine. It was a good story. If you had nothing else. Dark chips.
But unlike the author of Shokugeki no Soma, Inagaki Sensei, the creator of the mangaka for Dr. Stone, he knew when to kill his story, and he killed it at a good point. And shout out to Boichi, which is, if y'all didn't know, he is the drawer for Dr. Stone. So it was a 2-man team on this story. Boichi's artwork,
masterful, bro. The last few cover pages for this last chapter, great.
Very, very good. So shout out to both of them, and on completing Dr. Stone, maybe we'll see something in the works for them later on in the future. Omedeto. Thank you so much for this amazing story. Good stuff. Moving on to My Hero Academia.
So where we last left off, Bakugo and Best Genius were panicking. Deku, bro, where's my plot armor?
Where's the main character, bro? We can't survive unless he's here.
And then you have Merkel's like, hey, man, the party already started, bro. Let's go at it, man. Let's go.
And this is why we love Merkel here. We're Merkel stands. She just takes life head on, and that fight, bro. Is a hero, bro.
We don't need no Deku. Who's Deku?
You got me, bro.
Obviously, Shigaraki's kind of confused, like, what the heck? Where am I?
Where am I, bro?
He's like, well, whatever. Decay. And as soon as he uses Decay, that platform, the floor, the section of the floor that he used Decay on just shoots up. He's all like, what? And then Best Genius goes into, of course, a monologue to explain everything so the readers can know.
Yep.
So basically, this place, this city, this dome that we built is specially made to defeat you. And it was all conjured up by a 16-year-old girl. Hatsume, best girl Hatsume.
Best girl Hatsume, bro.
So basically, she heard, like, they told her, like, everything they know about Shigaraki. First thing she says, cool, let's make it fly. And then Principal Mouse came up with, like, he gathered up all the things that they needed to, and Hatsume came up with the setting and everything, like how they're gonna do this. So between the principal and Hatsume, they created this flying dome, this flying city. And then you have Momo has the spare parts.
Yeah.
So it's the principal gathered everything up, Hatsume planned everything, Momo is the spare parts, some side heroes like that concrete guy or whatever he is the ones that do the repairs. Mm-hmm. And then you have a few heroes like Charge Bolt and Comic Man or Manga. They are basically powering up the whole city.
Yeah, using electricity along with other electricity users besides Denki that we've never got introduced to.
Yeah,
who knows who they are, but they're just there.
Shigaraki tries to use a quirk. He's like, all right, then I don't get close, then that's fine. Huh. And then they're all like, remember? Bakugo screams like, remember what happened at Jaku? And he's like, what? And then there's a little room tied to the island far away off. And again, best boy, the MVP of this arc, Monoma, is right there crying his eyes out, but he can't because that other hero's using the gel. Yeah. But he's touching Eraser and he's using his quirk, Erasure.
So he went from being like one of the most hated guys because he was just, everybody hated him for hating Class 1A.
Being so arrogant.
For being arrogant, but now he can be because he is the MVP. He went from Dr. Strange to you can't use your quirk no more. I am Cyclops. So he is coming clutch now. He is absolutely coming clutch where now Eraser can't do anything because they messed up his eyes from the Battle of Jaku.
Monoma has a 5-minute time limit, so in order to get around that, Eraser is right next to him, so he's always touching him. So he's basically just circumventing that time limit.
And then they got the water guy with the eyes, so that way he keeps his eyes dry. Yeah. So it's a plan that's working. So Shigaraki, oof.
He's like, well, fine. And then he starts doing this absolutely disgusting thing,
grotesque.
Bro. His hand morphs into an infinite amount of fingers, just a bunch of fingers, and he chunks it. And Merkel is looking at Dynamite, is like, hey, Dynamite kid, what's this stuff? And he's like, I've never seen it before. It's like, the only reason you're here is to get intel on us for this guy. You fought him a few times. It's like, yeah, well, I've never seen this. And then he throws that, and it's like just a bunch of fingers. It's really gross.
It's like growing hands.
And then Eraser is like, Monoma, and Monoma's like, hey, bro, I'm not stopping, bro. You see me? I'm staring at the guy.
It's not working, bro.
And then it hits Mirko, and she blocks it. She's the only one that gets hit. And then the chapter ends with her getting hit. So the next chapter begins with Shigaraki explaining why he was still able to do that even with his quirks being sealed. And it's because he said it's natural. It's just like my hair growing, my nails growing. It's like this is the next step of human evolution. I'm like, growing fingers, bro?
That's disgusting.
That's gross.
So due to his quirk, it's still going back to the quirk singularity theory, and it's essentially evolving them as human beings with their quirks.
Basically, he can morph his body at will.
Yeah, which is
because that's the next step of evolution.
Yeah, well, the people who've read it, you've seen it. It's quite disgusting.
And then there's a big, like, it hits a building and destroys it, and Mirko comes out. And remember, Mirko lost 2 limbs, so she lost them again.
Like, why you do my girl like this? But
she screams out, I need some spares, and the machine pops up.
And she slides like a baseball slide, and you see arms and like robotic arms and legs. She just let's go back at it again, man. They're doing her wrong, but she keeps proving time and time again, like, hey, nothing's gonna stop me, bro. So I respect that, but please stop doing her wrong.
And then we get back to Eraser. It's like, man, where's Deku, bro?
Where's the main character, bro? Where he at?
And then they get a response from Deku. He gets a little call from Deku, and he's all like, hey, I'm over here at whatever island it was called. I forgot what the island was called, but he's at the island, and he's all like, I need transportation, quick. And then he and Best Genius don't look at each other, But as Best Genius is dodging, he like turns to where Eraser is. He's like, I got you, bro. We're thinking the same thing. Because in order to transport Deku back, Monoma would have to release the quirk and then use the other quirk. And if these, like he said, those are part of his body and they're all fingers, if he uses decay with those hundreds and hundreds of fingers, it's probably going to decay everything, eradicate everything. It's like, if you let go of that quirk, we're done. It's game over, bro.
DED.
So Eraser tells Deku, like, you got to get back here on your own, kid. It's like, we're in a tight spot. We can't do it. So then it goes back to Best Genius. Like, all right, guys, we're going to hold off Shigaraki here without Deku. It's like, we got this. It's Best Genius, Bakugo, Sun Eater, Nejire, and Mirko. Oh, and with another guy. What's that other guy? Who's that other guy?
And then there's Edgelord, or not, Edge Shot, the ninja guy, for those who forgot.
This guy said, we're going to hold off Shigaraki here with this group.
Yeah, there's no plot armor there. Maybe a little bit from Bakugo, just a little bit, but not a lot, bro. I would give it like, he has like 15% plot armor, bro. He can still be used as a plot device to die, and Deku gets really mad or something.
Super sad.
So, yeah, you got like 15% with Bakugo there. Sorry.
Less than that, but yeah. Like, Mirko's a beast. I'm not sure how Sun Eater's gonna be useful here, my guy.
Same.
Nejire, she has a pretty cool quirk. She could attack from a distance.
Exactly, long
Best
range.
Genius has been the one doing most of the attacking.
He's really smart. He has experience, so that's my guy.
And then Edge Shot,
long range attacks too. So.
He's gonna die.
Yeah, he's the only one with 0 plot armor there. So sorry, bro.
And then we cut back to whatever island Deku and friends are at with is first up with Gang Orca.
Gang Orca. Man, bro, he says it's such a cool name, and he's a whale, bro. Killer whale.
He's dodging a bunch of attacks. There's a Nemu with new abilities, I guess new quirks, and they're just all dodging. And then there's this big wave, and then there's a hero that I don't think we've ever met, her, who tells Suyu, it's like, where's Ochako and the other kid, Deku? He's like, oh, we were separated with the wave. So then we get to Uraraka and Deku, and Uraraka's like, what did the teacher say? What did Sensei say? He's like, I gotta get there on my own. And before he could finish his next sentence, he's like, whoa. He's like, what? Himiko.
Yeah.
Oh, forgot her for a second. Yeah. Himiko just pops up behind him, slashing at him. And he's like, dang it, Danger Sense didn't work again.
And then the user of Danger Sense inside Deku, he's like, hey, it's not working. Why is it not working?
And Deku like figures it out real quick. Like, she's said many times that she has affection for me, so it's crazy. But I mentioned this in the last video, because it's coming from a place of affection, his Danger Sense is not working. And that's what Deku figures out instantly. He's like, dang, a person like this actually exists? Physically gonna harm me, but there's no danger to it. That's crazy. He's like, I can't believe a person like this exists.
That's what you call yandere.
Yes, that is the definition of a yandere. If you don't know what a yandere is, just Himiko Toga.
And if you want to know more about Dedes, we have a Dede video for that.
Because I guess Toga overheard him say that he has to go. He's like, don't go, Deku, I love you, bro.
He's like, ugh.
He's a little bit confused, but he's all like, what do you want from me, man? It's like, I want you to be my boyfriend.
And everybody's like,
But that's a really cute picture. I can't wait for that to get animated. But you know how there's always been this iconic picture of Himiko, like this psychotic smile picture that I usually see like artists draw, or I see in conventions or posters of it.
Yeah.
This is gonna take the cake for that. The part where she confesses to Deku that she wants him to be her boyfriend. And that's how that chapter
That's how that chapter
Great
ends.
picture of Himiko looking all yandere. So the next chapter begins with, after her confessing, in this like one moment, in this one instance, Deku thinks about his heroic journey and everything that's happened in his entire time trying to be a hero, but he never thought about ever getting a girlfriend. He's like, in this one moment, a girl has confessed to him, so then he starts panicking, like all nervous, like, wait, what? And she's like, yeah, I want you to be my boyfriend. It's like taking you out on dates and like holding hands and like getting crepes together.
I mean, that's a Japanese thing, so they get crepes.
Pretty funny.
And then she's like, no, not like that. She's like, I want to be you. And he's like,
She's like, so my form of love isn't just wanting to be with them, it's wanting to be them. Mm-hmm. So for people that may be like, oh, you should just accept it. No, she literally explained that she's not looking to date someone or to like have a normal relationship. Remember, this is Toga. She literally just wants his blood. Oh, she tells him like, give me your blood or let me drink your blood or something like that. He's kind of creeped out by that, but that she says it is what it is. This is me.
Yeah.
So she totally stated her case there. And he's all like, nah.
So yeah, don't get it twisted. It's a different form of love that she is looking for. And as JT said, it's like the same thing with like, I see this a lot when people compare like, or they're like, oh, I want Harley Quinn and Joker's love. I'm like, bro, like, no, you do not like that.
Psychological abuse right there.
Yeah, so that is, and that's what I don't want from this either, is from people to be like, look at that and be like, oh, that's no. Get it right, what she is saying and what Horikoshi is telling you as her character and what it is. She literally wants to be the person that she loves.
Shipping Himiko and Deku isn't quite right because the way you're imagining it's a romance. That's not what it is. And even Toga already said that ain't what it is. She literally just wants to be him.
Yeah. So sorry, he broke your fandom. Horikoshi broke the fandom. That's it. It's done. It's dead. Goodbye.
Deku tries to rationalize this as best as he could and kind of explains to her like, I get you. Like, I idolize All Might. I want to be like All Might. I never ever felt like I wanted to have his mind
or his thoughts,
like anything like that. So in terms, I can understand you idolizing someone or looking up to someone or wanting to be like someone, but I can't understand wanting to be someone the same as someone else. Like, I can't understand that.
And this is where it broke the cake for her, is he said, I could never hurt anyone that I loved. And that essentially just completely broke her, because that reminded her of what Uraraka said. That reminded her of what her mom and her dad said. And she's like, that's it. Like, okay, like, I understand. Like, you're just like everybody else.
Yep.
You're just like everybody else who won't accept me.
So she asked him the same question that she asked Uraraka the second time they fought. She asked him, what do you want to do to me, hero? And then Uraraka's all like, oh, damn.
That's it. She knew she was about to go on the offensive, and
Himiko, just in her regular high school form, but once she asked that, she put on her mask, took out all her weapons, and went in for the attacks.
Yep.
And this is one of the rare times where Deku was actually worried.
Yep.
He's like, first of all, he hasn't had danger sense for that long, but the fact that he can't sense her, this kind of showed that he probably became too reliant on it, because now he's like, I gotta really stay sharp, because this chick, danger sense does not work on her, and she could pop out from anywhere.
He has become too reliant. You literally stole the words out of my mouth. I'm like, bro, what about your fighting instincts? Like, what happened to that? He's just relied on danger sense too much. So
she goes on for the attacks. Well, there's another wave of water, and she uses it to cloak herself underneath water.
And they can't find her. They're like, where'd she go?
And then she has all those needles going everywhere, so they're dodging it. And then Ochako tries to stop her because she's trying to get Deku enough time to leave. And then when she goes for her, Ochako turns to her and attacks her. And then even Deku's like, oh yeah, she's gonna get hit. So right when she was about to get hit, she still dodges it, but it nicks her.
Yeah.
And right before Himiko starts her sentence, like, Ochako, I thought you and I understand each other because we both, bam, she gets hit. Drop kicks. All we see is legs. Drop kicking the crap out of her.
And it is Froppy for the save. She came in to save her friend.
I like that too, because Deku, they're great friends, and this is in the middle of a battle. She's all like, Asui! No, I mean Tsuyu! No, wait, Froppy! And she's like, hey, this is no time for a chat about romance. Like, you gotta get going. Like, all right. And then Ochako tries to get up, and Uraraka and Tsuyu get in the way. It's like, Tsuyu mentions, like, we're just going back to how we planned. Ochako's gonna take the lead, and it's just gonna be me and her against this chick.
Yep.
So Deku goes for the run.
And that's how the chapter ends. And this is where I kind of go into my little rant about it. Did not like it. If that was all it was served for, is Deku was meant there just for the confession, don't like it. Don't care for it. Didn't want it. If he ends up actually leaving the island the next chapter and doesn't get pulled back or anything, an absolute waste of a chapter. Did not care for it. The confession could have been done after, or maybe even before, or something like that. She could have snuck out, went to UA using her transformation or something.
They could have defeated her, but she isn't really defeated. And at one point, she meets up against Deku again.
The one thing that was good out of it was just the humor. they're like, where's our plot armor, bro? So if something good came out of it, then I would say that's what that was the good that came out of it, because that's pretty funny.
I still like the fact that Himiko, like, she was the one that pulled him, and the fact that now he knows like his danger sense isn't
doesn't work.
There's a certain person in this world that it doesn't work against. So that was a lesson learned for him.
Moving now, we're gonna move on to good stuff.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. I'm telling y'all guys, like, if you have not read Jujutsu Kaisen or have not watched Jujutsu Kaisen and you're watching this video, how? Please stop watching this video and just go watch Jujutsu Kaisen or catch up on Jujutsu Kaisen. And if you're trying to get hype, and you're here and you just want to get spoiled, continue on. And after you're done with our segment of Jujutsu Kaisen, go read it. Because time and time again, and as I said in previous videos, top king in Shonen Jump right now, bro. Like, back to back, real Shonen, my guys, bro. This is real Shonen, guys.
And if you have watched the Jujutsu Kaisen 0 movie, bruh, you gotta get caught up to the manga, because right now it's all about Okutsu. Yuta, our boy Yuta Okutsu, bro.
Like, if you just saw the movie or you haven't seen the movie and you want to watch the movie, go watch the movie, bro.
We saw the movie. It was really good.
It was great. We're not gonna get into a full discussion about it, but 10 out of 10 on Rotten Tomatoes, bro. Go check Twitter right now, bro. I posted it. It's Rotten Tomatoes 10 out of 10. Audience score 99%, bro. On an anime movie. Screw all the My Hero movies. They suck compared to this, bro. Let's go.
One of my favorite movies is Silent Voice. The anime adaptation, close to perfect, but not quite perfect. Jujutsu Kaisen 0, perfect.
Let's go. Let's get into the 2 chapters. Let's go.
So we last left off, Ryu, or Ishigori, but I'm going to go with Ryu because it's a lot easier to say.
Yeah.
So Ryu and Yuta were facing off. It's like, hey, kid, let's go hands to hands.
Let's go, bro.
Let's throw hands. And they throw hands. They're going real fast. It punches after punch after punch. And then Yuta's like, man, this guy's like a brick wall. And he punches like a brick.
He's like, bro. And I'm telling you, these fighting sequences, like, oh my God, they're really good.
And there's a point, one great scene when they're throwing hands and they do this back-to-back hit, like back-to-back, and they just clash.
Bro, y'all need to, oh my God, that is by far one of the best panels that I've ever seen in Jujutsu Kaisen. Like, that was amazing. Like, it was really, really good. It looked awesome.
This is a rare moment for me. I usually don't backtrack, but I'm backtracking because I forgot. So not only are they throwing hands, but Ryu is explaining before they even start fighting. He was smoking, right?
Yeah.
And he says, you know, in my previous life, I fought worthy opponents. I ate moderately, and I met a good woman. So honestly, my kid, I ain't got regrets. But if I do have to say, there was something missing in my life, it's that I didn't have dessert. And he looks at Okutsu and like, are you gonna be my dessert, Okutsu?
He gives him that look, bro. You know, you're gonna be my dessert.
And then,
so that's what he's missing in his life, and he's like, I'm gonna get my dessert, bro.
Yep, he just wanted dessert in terms of a good ass whooping. So we lead up to them clashing and Okutsu breaking down like, this guy is just strong. And that's when they go back to back, and it's almost like a Black Flash kind of
almost looked like it.
Yeah, it kind of looked like it. And when they hit, he's all like, is it gonna be you? He's like, are you gonna satisfy me? And pa, and then Okutsu's all like, dang, he's really strong. Boom. He gets blown away. just like Ray just got blown away. So Ryo does his granite blast, which is firing from his pompadour hair.
He said Hadouken
with his pompadour hair.
And Yuta just blocks it.
Yeah, well, he doesn't just like block it. He like blocks it with his bare hands. Yeah. And then even Ryu's like, what?
He blocked it with his bare hands? With his bare hands, bro.
Yep.
And then in comes Uro.
Yeah, she goes in there and she does another little monologue. He's like, when I hit my opponents, I'm hitting the sky, not my opponents. But it also affects my opponents. So she does her curse technique where she warps it and bam, hits Okutsu real hard. And he goes,
and then again, Ryu is like, all right, you get it in my way.
It's like,
granite blast to you too.
He's like, hey, you hag, stop getting in the way. So he blasts at her, and then she goes like, oh, all right, you call me a hag. She warps the space around her, and it literally says this in the manga. She says, Have at it back, dickhead. Bam.
And it sends his blast right back at Ryu.
And it hits him.
And then the funniest thing, he's like, oh my God, is that what my blasts feel like? They hurt. They pack a punch. He's like, that was the first time ever he got hit with his own attack. He's like, man, I hit hard.
He's like in the rubble. Like, oh, damn.
It's so funny because characters you don't usually get that.
This is a serious battle, but that was a little funny moment.
It wasn't meant to be funny, but it's funny.
It's funny.
He gets hit with his own blast.
He was literally just saying, like, this has never happened to me before. That's what my opponents feel. Ow. So far, this has been an intense battle, and in this one moment of him getting blasted by his own granite blast, there's a moment of rest. They breathe for 1 minute. They just for like a second, everybody just like chill. Okusu gets back. He's all smoked up, but he's healed up. And they look at him and they're like, dang, that reverse technique, man.
He's like, bro, he really using that, my guy.
But Ryu mentions that he used curse technique again. I can feel his curse energy. Every time he uses it, it really eats away at his curse energy. So the attack that I did and Udo did it. He has a little bit left in his tank.
And then it goes into a monologue with Ryu, and then he's like, even during cake shops, whenever it's closing time, and there are no more desserts. He's like, I guess you can't be my dessert, because he's saying that because Yuta is on his final legs. He feels like he's on his final legs, and he's like, I guess you're not it. And then it goes into Yuta's monologue, and he's like, okay, as much of a dick Ryu is, he wouldn't purposely hurt people, but he's willing to use them as collateral.
Yeah, he doesn't care if they get in the way, but he'll hurt them.
And then Udo, he knows that she's fought a lot of good sorcerers, so she's really, really strong. And he's like, man,
I gotta get serious.
So
man. It's funny that he did a self-assessment on everybody.
It's great.
That just goes to show what type of fighter he's become.
He's a very strategic and tactical thinker. And he's like, dang, I guess I gotta do this. I guess I gotta get serious. Boop. And then the great lines he says, Rika, give me everything. I was like, yo, I'm telling you, when that chapter ended, I was like, where's the next chapter? Like, I was so hyped.
So we already knew that Rika was still with him from his reappearance of literally killing Yuji.
Yeah. And if you've seen the movie, and if you saw the movie or read the chapter 0, you know Rika is gone.
Passed on.
She passed on. The curse
so
broke.
She should be dead. She was already dead, but she would have passed on, so she shouldn't be around. So when Rika showed up and grabbed Yuji in his first reappearance, I was kind of confused. I was like, how? I thought he used another curse. But then when he saved the people in the stadium, he told Rika to stay and protect them. So I'm like, so it is Rika.
And at this point, JT and I were talking, and we're like, next chapter, bro. Next chapter is going to be it when they explain Rika.
He has to. Gege has to.
And explain Rika he did. Moving on to the next chapter. And in this chapter, we get another banger chapter cover page, and it's Yuta with his hand like this. And I don't know if y'all knew this, but he has joined the club. There's a club. In one of the volume covers that Gojo's on, he has his hand out. In one of the covers Suko is on, he has his hand out. And now Yuta also has his hand in the same position. They're the only 3 across all volume covers and cover pages that have their hand out like that in a specific pose. It's only meant for the greatest, my guys. And he has done the pose.
Literally, special grade. Probably.
Special grade. It's a special grade pose. He has joined the club. Welcome to the club, Yuta. I am proud.
Itadori, maybe.
Maybe. We'll see.
So it starts off with a little monologue from Udo and Ryu. Udo mentions like, give me everything. He wasn't going all out until now. Yeah, my girl. He wasn't. Ryu is specifically interesting because he's like, wait a minute. What's happening here? So as soon as he called that curse, his curse energy started welling up again. So he's replenishing his energy, and then we get an explanation. But before that, Rika opens up and he's like, what would it be this time, Yuta? And it's like a bunch of curse tools. Like, she didn't do this last time.
She did not. I lost it when I saw that. It's just like, we finally get Rika to come out. Rika's there, and the first thing that she says is like, what you want, bro? I got this. I got this. You want this sword? You want this axe?
Some
No, you want this?
nunchaku, some katana. What you want?
What
bro?
you want, bro? Pick your poison over here. And he's like, that one would do. And he grabs his sword.
He grabs that, and he grabs something for his arm.
Oh yeah, he grabs
arm
the like some kind of armor for his
Yeah.
arm. I don't know what it was, but it's cool.
And so we get a little explanation.
Oh, I know what it was. He took Bucky Barnes' arm, bro. He used it for himself. He's like, I'm the Winter Soldier now.
So then next up, we get the explanation of why Rika is there. And the explanation that Gege gives us is basically when Rika passed on, the child Rika, his childhood friend, she left the curse Rika for him to be used as an external storage space.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where he keeps all of his equipments. So when he calls her and when he puts on the ring and connects with her, there's 3 things that happen. Number 1 is that he can use curse techniques.
And what that means is curse techniques, like basically, you know how in the movie or in the volume, he uses Inumaki's technique. So that's one of the techniques that he can use.
Number 2 is using or manifesting Rika.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. So now he can use Rika as an external power source, like a stand. JoJo reference.
Basically, yeah.
And number 3 is that he can circulate Rika's energy into himself.
So Rika has basically a
crap ton
of curse energy now, along with Yuta's, and he's just replenishing it. He essentially just has an infinite loophole of cursed energy.
Technically, it'll still be finite, but and they explain there's a time limit, but there's a time limit. As OP as he sounds, there's a time limit, and it's 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
So for 5 minutes, he's basically unstoppable.
And you know what he tells him? He tells him, I got you for 5 minutes. 5 minutes of playtime.
Because he's Bonesaw.
The boy said, Utah is ready.
Macho man. You gotta know what we're talking about. It's Spider-Man, guys.
It's Spider-Man.
The very first Spider-Man movie.
Anyways.
So he goes at it.
And he's like, and the first thing that he does, he's like, all right, I know who I'm getting first. And he has his hand covered like
and
this.
And Rika goes after Udo.
And Yuta has his hand covered like this. And he immediately removes it. And it shows Inumaki's
speech curse. Yeah.
The seal on his tongue. And he says, don't move. And Udo immediately knew what it was. And as fast as she could, whoop, she's like, I'm not listening. I'm not listening.
But because she got distracted, he moves fast. He has almost an infinite amount of curse energy. So he's moving real quick and he's going all out. So Rika's coming at her in the front and she's covering her ears. So she doesn't hear that he sneaks up behind her.
In an instant.
The speech curse did not work. But then
he basically just one punch Gatling gun, Gomu Gomu Gatling.
Both him and Rika.
And they're pulverizing Udo right now.
Yep.
They're just bah, 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 bah.
And she's all like, damn it.
So she got caught. She got caught slipping. And while the barrage is taking place, we get Ryu, and he's like, hey, don't leave me out of this, guys. I still have an appetite. So he's trying to interrupt, and he uses his Pompadour Hadouken, and he's like, Hadouken. And then Rika just comes in,
launches Okutsu out of the way, and then turns around and sees the blast coming, just blocks it again with her bare hands. And then he's like, again? It's like, actually, she probably blocked it better than Okutsu.
And he's like, what? And then she comes in and goes, Falco, pow, right in his face.
This is a great shot.
Right? I really hope they do like a replay. This just replace the punch 3 times. Pound, pound, pound.
Because when she blocked it, even though she blocked it, she's all like, that hurt.
Boom. Right in the face.
He's like,
headshot.
Like, she packs a punch, man.
She's like, and he's like, I think she's even stronger than Yuta. That hurt.
And he's like, all right, so I guess you're my next appetite. This calls for an extra serving, man. Come on. So we cut back to Okutsu and Udo's fight, and Okutsu does a technique where he just flicks a hair and it becomes like batarangs.
Basically.
And then Udo explains like, well, we haven't seen that before, but Udo explains like, hey, that was that other guy. That was that other guy's curse technique, the guy that he killed first. And then we get a little monologue of the editor note, and it says that the Fujiwara family, apparently Okatsu is a descendant of, they had a group of assassins, elite assassins, who were so devoted to what they did, to their mission, they often didn't have names. And Udo mentions that guy, he gave me a name only to blame me for killing his family. So apparently she was part of this assassination group. It's what I got from this.
Yep, that's correct.
And she was given a name because she was put on trial for killing all these people from the Fujiwara clan, and there was someone that made her do it, and she took the blame for it. And that's why she got killed, I guess, in her past life. So then she gets cut back to reality. She's getting wailed on by these powers, and then we get an explanation on why is it that Okatsu is able to do this? Why is it that Okatsu can copy Inumaki's technique? So even if you watch the movie, even if you read the manga, the Zero, he learned it, and I assumed that he was like a genius, a prodigy. I thought he learned this, but then we just get a simple explanation. Okatsu's curse technique is mimicry or copy. So he's a copycat.
Yeah.
That's essentially his curse technique this whole time.
Yep. So are we going with that's the reason he's able to use Rika?
So the Fujiwara clan, we don't know what the Fujiwara clan's original curse technique is, but we now know, even if you go watch the movie, you'll understand this, why Rika became a curse. And it wasn't because she did it, it's because Okatsu did it, right? So that is his innate technique. That's like the main technique. This is what awoke in his curse energy. That was him unconsciously using a technique that made his childhood friend into a curse. That was the first ever use of his curse energy. So that is a skill that he has.
Yeah.
Rika existing, Rika being Rika, he created it with his own curse energy. So Rika is already a separate being to herself. It says that Rika, his childhood friend before she passed on, left that Rika curse for him to use. That was created by him, so that it became its own thing. So it's a separate entity. It made sense that Rika passed on with that Rika being left behind, because it was still tethered to him via that ring. But it's only at a time limit, 5 minutes. So the Rika copycat technique, I don't think Rika is copied by him. It's just because it was made by him and it's tethered to the ring that he has, that he can control it. I think that's enough of an explanation.
Okay.
Is that it's tethered to him.
Yeah.
Not that he copied it in order to be able to use it. Okatsu is waiting on her. Just pow, pow, pow. And in that moment where they're fighting, he's talking to her. He's like, hey, I don't know what my ancestor did to you, because, that's not me.
That happened a long time ago, bro.
But, if you keep living just to satisfy your own selfish desires, eventually you're going to run into trouble. You're going to run into something you can't go back on, It's just going to lead your life to doom. And this kind of makes Udo mad. It's like the only people that can say that are people that have already made something out of themselves. Someone who's already made a name for themselves.
Yeah. And then after that, you see Ryu again. Ryu comes out and he says, enough of that. He's like, that's it. No more time for talk. But it's in his own head that he's saying that's inner monologue. All Yuta and Udo hear is boom, pounding of the chest.
Oh, yeah. And then Yuta instinctively, there's a little thing right there that he notices. The onomatopoeia is like they both sensed. I'm pretty sure they both sensed him build up his curse energy.
So after they hear Ryu beating his chest, all of them just look at each other. Next thing you know, the next cover comes in and it's Ryu, Yuta, Udo, and all of them say Ryoiki Tenkai or domain expansion. So they're all using their domains at the same freaking time. And that's a crazy way to end the chapter, bro. Like, I was absolutely losing my mind.
Next up is just a standoff to see whose domain dominates who. And in the editor's note, it's been mentioned that Ryu, out of everybody in the Culling game, has the most curse energy out of everybody. Yeah. But right now that Okatsu is using Rika for 5 minutes, we don't know how much minutes that passed by.
Yeah.
But he has an infinite amount, so he can probably last a bit. But I don't know about Udo.
Yeah.
She seems like the one out of luck.
Yeah. And y'all have to remember when Gojo was explaining to Yuji about domain techniques, that even if 2 people cast a domain at the same time, whoever has the strongest domain is the one that takes over. So at this point, we're like, bro, what's gonna happen?
The Dragon Ball Z Gohan versus Cell. They use it, and like Okatsu and Ryu's domains are like overlapping, and Udo's is like getting crushed.
And then Rika comes in for the save, and she said, childhood friend, Kamehameha.
But all you see is a hand, a giant curse hand on his shoulder.
And he looks back at him, just smiles. But yeah, guys, that is pretty much it for this week's SWR, and we will see you guys in the next video. Out.